My name is Frank Weltner, and I would like to welcome you to Zionist News. Zionist News is a loving organization. We do not abide hate of any type. I would like to speak today about selfishness, the selfishness of the Zionists and their belief that they are the only people in America that have a right to an opinion. Now, I have had this small news segment on the internet for about a year. I've been extremely respectful. I've been very pro-civil rights. Nonetheless, both YouTube and LiveLeak had seen fit to either ban me or to suspend me on their networks. Now, I know from the scuttlebutt on my blog that the Zionists were coming there constantly and were trying to cause trouble. In fact, they made up clones and pretended that they were vicious right-wing racists, and they tried to place their comments on my blog, and I constantly tried to scrape those off. And they were basically agents provocateurs, very selfish Zionist people, most of them atheists who never believed in God in their lives, calling me an anti-Semite when in fact I've never harmed a Jewish person in my life. I've never harmed a Zionist in my life. I am simply a reporter. Well, I was reading just the other day information on exactly who owns the news and who controls it. And I decided to put a movie together for the internet as to the exact persons who control these pieces of the news, such as AOL, Time Warner, the New York Times, the Washington Post, and all the other hundreds of media outlets that they control. And the list was absolutely huge. And I thought, well, maybe I should say something on Zionist News about how the Zionists at LiveLeak and at YouTube decided that they would cooperate with the Zionists in Israel and at the ADL and elsewhere who constantly complained about me having a small voice there. And my voice was getting fairly large. I was getting as many as 32,000 in my audience every day. And they were alarmed by this. They didn't want that. Now, what they want is to own all of the media, which is basically what they own. And when I get that film ready for you, you will basically be seeing exactly who it is that owns what newspaper and cable company and news studio properties. They own practically all of it. I can't think of anything that they don't own or don't run. And the list is absolutely amazing. But here I am with one little property, Zionist News and JewWatch, where I archive what they write, basically. They want to be able to control everything. They want you to be totally blinded as to the murders that are being committed daily by Zionists. For instance, in the last 2 days, the Zionists murdered 9 Palestinians from the air. Now, this is the type of viciousness that's going on that they do not want to have reported. They don't want the Americans and the Europeans to know that they're basically a colonial power down there in Tel Aviv and that they are killing people on a daily basis. They don't want them to know that. And so how do you do that? Well, you get Frank Weltner off of YouTube and off of LiveLink, etc., etc., etc. I'm going to be here forever. In fact, now that you have angered me, I'm going to increase what I'm doing by a factor of 10. They cannot stand the truth. They cannot stand freedom of speech. They lie, they deceive, they tell you that freedom of speech is absolutely wonderful. And then they say that because we own all of this, we are the only ones that have a right to freedom of speech. And on top of that, if you own something, we're going to shut you down using all of our millions of dollars and all of the millions of people who happen to be Zionists in this country. We're going to have them call up and we're going to have people take you off of the internet. There's no sense of fair play. There's no sense of freedom of speech. Their sense is a sense of propaganda. They want to propagandize you. They want to run America the same way they ran the Soviet Union. Now, if you look up in JewWatch about communism and the USSR, just go to page 1 and type in Control F for find and type in USSR, and you will find over 100 articles which will tell you the exact names of the Zionists who ran the USSR and how they turned it into a killing field. For instance, many people don't realize that Trotsky was Jewish. His real name was David Bronstein, and he lived in New York City. But I don't want to dwell on that. They ran the USSR using their newspapers and their radio stations and movies. You've seen these Russian movies of the workers marching around. Well, while the workers were marching around with these flags, guess what? The Zionists were out killing the priests, the elitists of the society, the scientists, the doctors. Whoever stuck their head up, they shot them down. And it's ridiculous that they don't want you to know that. There was a reporter by the name of Duranty who won the Pulitzer Prize for interviewing Stalin in 1933. His name was Walter Duranty. You'll find that on Jewwatch too. He was given the Pulitzer Prize for his interviews with Stalin. But there was one thing he forgot to mention. Mr. Duranty forgot to mention that Stalin was killing many, many non-Jewish people in the Ukraine, in Belarus and elsewhere all over Russia, that there was a slaughter going on. And the only thing that was being reported when they would report something is that there was an anti-Jewish pogrom going on, which just simply was not true. They have no respect for our people. We are not Jewish, and so we just don't count in their book. So they don't see anything wrong about lying about us because we're just little insects or animals to them. They are the only people in their Bible and in their Talmud that mean anything. And if you go to Jewwatch and you look up Talmud, you will find things there that are just awful. They're very racist, and they say that it's okay to kill a goy, meaning a piece of cattle, or a person who's not Jewish, but to kill a Jew is punishable by death. But to kill me, that's okay to them in their books. Now, there's something wrong with these people that think that and that worship books like that, and then come to you in their newspapers and tell you that if you do anything hateful, we're going to get you with a hate crime and we're going to put you in jail. You see, it's a total deception and a lie that they're spreading, and the only way they can spread it is if they keep people like myself who analyze what they do, who tell what they do, and who tell the absolute honest-to-God truth about what they're doing. They have to keep me silent for them to win. They're not going to keep me silent. They're simply not going to do it. And I'd like to ask all of you, when you see my things on the internet, copy them. Figure out how to do that. Figure out how to make your own copy, put it on your computer, and spread it around the internet. Put these things into blogs, etc., etc., etc. Don't let them win. Do your part too. Spread my videos all over the internet so that you, your children, your friends, your relatives, decision makers around the world will suddenly see what these Zionists are doing. Because they don't have any other way of finding out except through my videos and through my Jewwatch project. It's a shame. It's a real shame. They can't stand the fact that I am doing this. Isn't that too bad? Now, they own the New York Times, they own the Washington Post, they own all of the great news venues. Murdoch, who claims that he's not Jewish, actually is. He's a supreme Zionist. He's even been invited to Israel to be commended on his Zionism, and his mother was Jewish. Her name was Elizabeth Green. And he got the money for his papers through her family, which was very, very rich. And they lived in Australia. Is he going to tell you that? No. But I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to tell you how you can find that information and verify it in your own library. That makes me a very dangerous person. I want to thank you for watching Zionist News, and I want to admonish you to be careful of what you hear in the Zionist media. And also stay tuned for that film that's going to be coming up in the near future, in which the names of all of these owners and managers of the Zionist media will be placed in front of your face so that you can see exactly who they are, what they are in charge of, and how they are infiltrating your mind with their deceptions and with their misstatements and misinformation of the truth. The only place you're going to find the truth is here and on Jewwatch.com. I want to thank you for listening to me today, and I want to ask you to come back tomorrow for more Zionist news. And I want to remind you that we are a loving organization, that we stand for world peace and for dignity for everyone.